A bit ago, I did a playthrough of Pokemon Sword version where I limited myself to only using Pokemon that I felt evoked the feeling of magical girls. And that was a lot of fun, so of course I wanted to do it again. But I decided it would be cool to this time go all the way back to the very beginning and become a magical girl in the first games of the franchise, Red and Blue version. Specifically Red version, because that's the one with the cool box art. There are a lot fewer Pokemon to work with this time, so I'm excited to see what ends up making it onto the team. Of course, don't forget my easy-to-understand equation I use when determining what Pokemon count as magical girls. I tend to prefer to use more cool or scary Pokemon during my normal playthroughs, so limiting what I can or cannot use for these videos is the fun part for me. And of course, you could always do your own magical girl playthrough if you find yourself thinking about what your perfect magical team would be. But this video is a story of how my adventure played out, so let's get started already. Back in the day, there was no character customization, and hell, you couldn't even play as a girl in this game. But don't worry, I'll handle our magical design as we progress forward. The story begins with me playing my hip new SNES before heading to the lab to try and find Oak. Yo, Twiins! Gramps isn't around. Okay, well. Let's go find Gramps. After getting the professor to jump out at me in the grass, he brought me back to the lab to pick my starter. When I was young, I was a serious Pokemon trainer. In my old age, I have only 3 left. What? Of the 3 available in Kanto, I think Bulbasaur is the clear pick as a magical girl. I mean, come on, it's got a giant flower, so I grabbed my grass starter. Back in Gen 1 here, Pokemon didn't have genders. It wasn't until breeding getting introduced in Gold and Silver that Pokemon outside the Nidoran line could be marked male or female. So I decided to do the work myself here. For each Pokemon I obtained, I figured out their gender ratio and did the math to be able to decide my Mon's gender by rolling a d20. So now we have our little magical boy, Bud the Bulbasaur, ready to rock and roll. Blue chose Charmander and challenged us to our first battle, which we promptly lost. Another critical? Man, that was bad luck all around. My bad luck with my opponents getting critical hits is going to be a bit of a reoccurring theme for this adventure. Undeterred by our loss, I headed towards the next town, where, upon arrival, I realized I hadn't spoken to Oak before leaving, and so doubled back to Pallet. Oak, however, did not give me the Pokedex like how I expected, so I made my way back to Viridian again. It wasn't until I entered the mart to buy Pokeballs that I remembered Oak's parcel existed, so I went back again with the professor's package in tow. After going through the first route for the 5th time, I was eager to push forward into Viridian Forest, as I knew there'd be plenty of magical girl options to find in there. If we can find Pikachu, that absolutely I think would count. I'm not banking on it. I'm not gonna sit here and run around looking for a Pikachu. That's too much. It's too much. Oh my fucking lord! Pikachu surprisingly joins the party quite quickly with our new friend Star. I did nobody's favorite thing, level grinding, for a bit to get Star's level up before continuing my exploration of Viridian. I ran around beating up all the children in the forest as I hunted for a Caterpie. I found a second Pikachu before finding one, but I did eventually find one, which means Sprite joined the team. Now with 3 magical kids, I was getting pretty confident in our ability to handle the first gym, Brock. We did some more level grinding just outside Pewter until Bud got to level 10 and confidently marched into the Rock Gym. And then the junior trainer in the gym beat the shit out of us. With the power of Leech Life, Sprite did get a huge EXP surge from the defeat of his Diglett. Oh, a level 11 Diglett. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh! Sprite's gonna win! Oh my gosh! They leveled up twice! But his Sandshrew quickly decimated the boy, and I was thrown out. Looks like I had to do some more level grinding. 20 minutes of squishing bugs in the forest later, Sprite evolved. Surely this was a good sign. We headed back into the gym. We were better prepared, better leveled, and bored from all the grinding. Surely victory was ours for the taking, and it was. We beat the junior trainer. But Brock still very much stood in our way. Bud had gotten to level 12, but the only grass-type move he knew was still just Leech Seed. I was really hoping he'd learned another one by now, but we'll just have to press on. Surely Onix can't be that tough to beat. Its stats suck. We started our battle, and Brock led with his Geodude. Oh, that is not very effective. Things weren't looking good. Bud planted Geodude with Leech Seed, and then I spent actually 2 minutes whittling down its HP as it spammed Defense Curl. And luckily, with Geodude's defeat, Bud grew to level 13 and learned Vine Whip. The rest of the fight was a slaughter. Victory was ours, which meant we could make our way to Route 3 and head towards the next gym. What a shame Route 3 sucks ass. Most routes are actually structured this way, where it's basically just corridors to navigate, littered with trainers to jump you. Tall grass to look for Pokemon becomes harder to find from this point moving forward, weirdly, and the trainers aren't even that strong. They basically refuse to evolve their Pokemon, meaning you don't even get to fight anything new here. Quite frankly, I wish the route had been available before beating Brock, as this would have been a significantly more efficient way to level grind than fighting random encounters in the forest. While making our way through the army of children, Sprite evolved again. Yay! Finally. Oh, he didn't learn anything? Well, that's a bogus. Alright. With his final form achieved, Sprite looked more majestic than ever, but still wasn't really all that good in terms of combat. Nevertheless, we proceeded until we finally found the patch of grass on the route. Oh, good! That's what I- Are you fucking kidding me with this Sprite? Why is one of its eyes saggy? Why is the other one, like, bloodshot? This looks so shit. It's level 3, are you fucking kidding me? We caught our visually impaired new friend and named her Beyonce. Beyonce. I don't know why, it just makes me laugh. So, Beyonce is only level 3 and only knows Sing right now, so you know what that means. More grinding. Eventually, we made our way into the sickeningly colored Mount Moon. Doing our best to not add to the vomit-colored floor, we found a TM for Water Gun, which really helped Beyonce's moveset, as did her swiftly learning Pound after that. After fighting a surprising number of people who were still using Caterpies and Metapods, but evolved! Nice. It's so weird that it's on its hind legs like that. This was excellent. I felt like our team was invincible, so when I found Team Rocket members shuffling around on the second floor, I charged in with confidence. Gotcha, bitch! Well, looks like I need to level grind some more, and 7 minutes of grinding later, I decided I didn't care about the jerk with Eradicate, and instead went off to fight a different Rocket. This was actually the way I needed to go anyway, so it looks like that bastard's free from my wrath for now. Eventually, I found my way to the super nerd guarding the fossils, and after beating him, decided to take the Helix fossil. Neither Kabutops or Omastar really count as magical girls, so I'm not using either of them, but if I gotta pick a fossil, might as well go with the Helix one. Beyonce, Star, and Bud had all been competently holding their own in combat, but Sprite was falling behind, still only knowing Tackle and String Shot. Luckily, defeating the Super Nerd also got Sprite to level up, where he learned Confusion. This move will make him one of the most important members of our team. As we finally exited the mountain and headed to Cerulean, I knew a rival battle was ahead. I quickly explored the new town, and since I didn't have the millions needed to get a bike, I headed to where I knew Blue would be waiting. Oh, Pidgeotto. What a shame that I just put Sprite out front. His level 18 Pidgeotto really smacked us around, but my squad managed to beat it and had no problems with the rest of his team. Upon defeat, Blue robotically exposited at me about Bill, but I decided to hold off on visiting that weirdo and headed to Misty's gym instead. With Bud and Star on my team, I was positive there'd be nothing to worry about with Misty's water-type Pokemon. And wow, finally my confidence wasn't unfounded. We got this. Easy peasy, Brock was way harder. We won handily and got our second badge. With that out of the way, the next problem to face was Nugget Bridge, where the hardest part is slaloming between the children whenever you want to head back and heal. Continuing down the path towards Bill's place, we find another army of trainers tucked into annoying corridors. I really hate this. This tiny spit of grass is all you can find for this new route. They expect you to fight so many trainers in this game. I don't mind a good trainer battle every now and then, but I'd much rather get the chance to fight wild Pokemon sometimes too, like how it was in Viridian Forest. Not helped by the fact that these billions of trainers are all still using Pokemon I've seen before. There's 151 Pokemon to use, why am I still fighting Rattatas and Pidgeys here? After finally making it past everyone, I find Bill. Between Blue's visit and mine, Bill's managed to accidentally transform himself into a Pokemon and needs me to press a button on his computer to fix it. To thank me for helping, Bill gifts me a ticket to visit the fairy SS Anne. I left so Bill can go back to doing whatever weird-ass shit he gets up to in there, and made my way to the building that had been ravaged by a member of Team Rocket. After suplexing his Pokemon, the grunt gave me the technical machine he'd stolen. The right thing would be for me to return it to its original owner, but instead, I just made my way towards the next town. After battling my way past all the trainers who landed just too many critical hits on me, and having to trek all the balls back to the Cerulean Pokemon Center multiple times, I finally made it to Vermilion City. However, I couldn't fight Surge due to the small tree he planted in the way that I needed to cut down to access the building. I chatted with an old man who gave me a voucher for a bike. Hooray! I get to walk back to Cerulean. Again. Deciding I'd be fine without a bike for a while, I jumped headfirst into the SS Anne, a ship full of literally nothing but trainers. So damn much of this game is just fighting other trainers. Why does this ship even exist? This is just an EXP dump with nothing to do but fight people. I can't even catch anything here. Eventually I just got bored of fighting the endless lasses with Pidgeys and sailors with Machops, and so headed to the captain's quarters, where Blue was waiting to jump out from the corner and scare me. Maybe it was because I just spent over an hour getting tons of EXP fighting an endless onslaught of trainers who refuse to evolve their Pokemon, but the fight with Blue this time was a cakewalk. Man, no wonder Blue got rid of Eradicate. It didn't die, it just sucks. After Blue stiffly talked at me about Cut, I headed into the next room to help an old man with a seasickness. With HM01 obtained, I am now a danger to the trees, and I'm ready to go deforesting for my next badge. Unfortunately, while the trees now tremble before me, Surge's stupid trash puzzle was a different story. Nope, there's only trash here. Hey, there's a switch under the trash. Turn it on. The first electric lock opened. Nope, there's only trash here. Hey, the electric locks were reset. Hey, there's a switch under the trash. Oh, great. And then, what, this one? Nope, there's only trash here. Hey, the electric locks were reset. Eventually, after bullying the gym guy to tell me what the right answer was, i.e. Googling it, I finally made it to the Lightning Lieutenant, hands covered in trash and ready to rock and roll. Lucky for me, the hardest part of this gym is its bogus puzzle. None of his team could handle Beyonce's body slam, and we were quickly on our way to the next gym. The walk back up to Cerulean took longer than Surge's battle, but it was worth it because I finally had every kid's biggest dream, my own bicycle. Ah, I can move at a decent speed. Hooray! My bike meant I could now zip along at a good pace, so of course the next place I went was Route 9, a series of short, narrow hallways where you constantly get stopped by trainers looking to battle. Despite how tedious the route was, it was nothing compared to the next challenge my magical kids and I had to face. Oh my... It's dark? Rock Tunnel is dark. I don't have flash, and there was no way in hell I was gonna go looking for it. So I looked up a map online and effectively marched through the cave blindly alongside my magical mons as we stumbled forward. After fumbling around, getting swarmed by Zubats and Geodudes for actually 20 minutes, we made it to the other side. Oh, I'm free. Oh. I'm feeling a bit faint from this tough hike. Oh, I thought you would be friendly. Who puts an enemy right there? However, the hits just keep coming as we then ran into the next big issue for the adventure. found a max either, but Twiins has no more room for other items. My tiny little backpack was full, and the battle of trying to make room for new items will become a major headache later down the road. For now, we made our way south to the scariest town of them all, Lavender. So excited for everyone to go crazy listening to Lavender Town. Mr. Fuji had gone AWOL, but I decided to explore the nearby routes before heading into the cemetery. My favorite part was this line of kids just hanging around weirdly like this. Oh my fucking lord. What are all you guys doing? We must look silly standing here like this. Yeah, you do. I wandered my way to the ugliest town in the game, Celadon. Okay. Oh, it's simultaneously pretty and hideous. Oh, my eyes, they're burning. I'm gonna start wandering an awful lot here. I couldn't really remember what order things had to happen in, so get excited for a lot of running between towns. I sold off a bunch of TMs at the department store to make some space in my tiny backpack, and then bought some fancy rocks. I barged into a stranger's apartment where they then just let me take their Eevee. It's been a while since a new magical friend got added to the team, but we now had Fluffus join the crew, and with one of the fancy rocks I just purchased, I immediately evolved him into Flareon, which means, in theory, we now had a fire-type friend to handle Erica's grass gym. But in actuality, he only knows Tackle and Sand Attack, and Pokemon take forever to learn new moves in this generation. I'm sure fighting Erica won't be that big of a deal. Another really cool quirk about this game is that they don't tell you what move a TM teaches until you actively have it in your bag, so I looked up a guide for TMs to see if there was anything useful I could get myself at the department store. However, my guide was wrong, and I ended up wasting a bunch of money on Egg Bomb. With that embarrassment firmly under our belt, we headed to Erica and our 4th gym badge. Hey. You're not allowed in here. Yes, I am. I'm challenging the gym. That's how these work. The ladies in the gym weren't too much of a problem with Sprite's confusion, except for this woman's stupid fucking execute, which wombo-comboed me with Sleep Powder and Barrage, whittling away my HP slowly in a way that's just annoying due to how long it takes for Barrage to finish. My only salvation from this boredom was the fact that the game is built on hopes and dreams, and the lady switched to spamming Reflect once I sent out Bud. Since the game knows Bud is a poison type, and that poison is weak to Psychic, it thinks using the Psychic move is how we win. So instead, Execute just did nothing while I finally beat it. Unfortunately, I didn't know this was only a prelude to how much I'd end up hating Erica. All because of Poison Powder and Wrap. The way Wrap works is once a Pokemon is wrapped, they can't move. You still click Fight in the menu, but you don't get to do anything as Wrap continues. You take Wrap damage, and then if poisoned, take poison damage too. This tediously, slowly drains your HP. All the little animations make each turn take forever, and there's nothing you get to do while this happens. Wrap can last up to 5 turns. This isn't fun, it isn't challenging, it's just annoying. When does it get to be my fucking turn, huh? This is bullshit. I continue to rage throughout the duration of my fight with Erica, because genuinely this is the least amount of fun I've had playing a game in a long-ass time. Once we finally composted Victory Bell, the rest of her team wasn't nearly as infuriating, but it was long-winded. It took me 10 minutes to fight Erica, with her favorite tactic being to just draw out combat as long as she can with moves like Constrict and Mega Drain. It wasn't hard, just tedious. A phrase you'll probably hear me say again throughout this video. We got the badge, I resisted the urge to burn down the whole building, and we set off again into the streets of Celadon and towards Saffron. I bought some water for the guards who surely must not be allowing people into the city for a reason. Well, they let me through, which is good, because the town's already taken over by Team Rocket. With Silph under control, we can exploit Pokemon around the world. Being evil makes me feel so alive. Okay. I then made the decision to teach Beyonce Psychic instead of Sprite because I'm very good at video games. Since I couldn't enter Silph Co, I headed back to Lavender to fight off all the scary ghosts there, but first we had to have another battle with Blue, a fight so not noteworthy I have no jokes to make about it. However, I convinced myself Lavender wasn't actually the place I needed to be yet, so I decided to go back to Celadon again, to handle the rockets there. Remember how I said there'd be a lot of wandering? On my way over, Star leveled up, and after learning Swift, I deemed her worthy of evolution and turned her into a Raichu. Yeah, look at how cute that is. We convinced the rocket in the game corner to tell us how to get into the secret base, and then I gifted another Pokemon with the power of evolution, Beyonce. We were looking tough and cool. Surely the rocket hideout wouldn't be a problem, right? Well, technically yes, the rockets weren't a challenge to fight. The problem was... As if this color palette wasn't hideous enough on its own, the slow movement of the tiny tiles in the background while spinning genuinely made me feel sick. Ugh, this is heinous. Watching this? Fuck. Let's go, come on. Let's get the fuck out of here. Oh my lord, have mercy. He's like, why'd you come here? And I'm like, bleh. It also didn't help that I got a bit lost looking for the key. That and I ran out of pocket space again, and so opted to escape rope out to sell some items, including the 2 moonstones I had collected. Remember that, it's going to be important later. But eventually I did make my way through without vomiting and found my way to Giovanni. Unfortunately for him, by being lost in his base for so long, I had gained plenty of EXP from beating his grunts. Easy peasy, Giovanni. Impressed by our skill, Giovanni runs but leaves behind a little reward for us, the Silph Scope, and with the rockets handled, I decided that was worthy of a transformation sequence and upgraded outfit. Yay! Now, with the heinous colors of Celadon burned into my retinas, I decided to get to Fuchsia City where I could find the next gym to face. I just had to go through Vermilion and follow the route, right? I see, here I am. Oh. Back to Lavender Town we go. Okay, let's go take on the terrible Tower of Lavender for real this time. The mediums throughout the tower were easy to handle with Sprite and Beyonce. The weird part was that I had been wandering around the tower for 7 minutes before a wild Ghastly attacked. I haven't fought a wild Pokemon in eons. Ages. Yeah, between the gym, the rockets, and the mediums, it had been a while since the last time I encountered grass to fight and catch mons in. In general, this game really favors trainer battles over wild ones, which blows in my opinion. Trainers will have full parties of weak Pokemon, an army of Pidgeys, Nidorans, and Weedles. Trainer battles just take a long time, and all I really want is to fight and maybe catch new Pokemon. Similar to how I said earlier, all these trainers aren't hard, they're just tedious. And it's weird, for a franchise whose slogan is "gotta catch them all," the game sure does hate giving you the opportunity to do that. After shooing away all the crazy old ladies in the tower, I made it to the top, where we used our Silph Scope to identify the ghost of Marowak, a Pokemon that for some reason is not a ghost type. Luckily, I know exactly how to put spirits to rest. Beat the shit out of them. The ghost was the restless soul of Cubone's mother. The mother's soul was calmed. It departed to the afterlife. Wow. We made short work of the rocket grunts and rescued Mr. Fuji. As a reward, he gave us the Poke Flute, which is good because now I can wake up the Snorlax and effectively have infinite awakenings. However, my tiny backpack is swiftly getting filled up with key items that you basically just use once and then can never get rid of, which is mighty annoying. That's a problem for future Twiins to deal with though. Current Twiins is busy trying to make it to Fuchsia. We judo flipped a bunch of fishermen as we made our way to Snorlax, who I wasn't planning on catching, but I was hoping to beat it for some good EXP. Okay, I guess poison powder will just never work. Fuck Snorlax. That's fine, we didn't need that EXP anyway, because the path forward is still just littered with losers with Voltorbs and Pidgeys who wanna fight. My cute Pokemon wish to make your acquaintance. This game is full of just presenting you with corridors full of trainers you can't avoid. Not grass. Fuck. You wanna fight a wild Pokemon? You wanna catch a Pokemon? Go fuck yourself. No. Here's another camper with just a Pidgey. I was stuck running around this maze of fences filled with campers for 6 minutes, by the way. But finally, I did eventually make it to Fuchsia City, a town with a very pretty color palette and a very stupid layout. That's where strength is, I remember. Oh, how does Fuchsia fucking work? This town's baffling. It's a fucking nightmare to navigate this place. After getting my bearings, I headed to the gym. My Pokemon were level 30, and I was ready to handle Koga's poison types with Sprite and Beyonce's psychic moves. I challenged the first gym trainer to a battle, and... oh, a juggler? Okay. With a hypno? What are you doing? This is a poison gym. Level 38! Oh, fuck! Oh, shit! We managed to beat the juggler, but this jump-in level made me think perhaps I ought to go fight Sabrina first instead, so we fled the gym and moved over to the Safari Zone while we were here. A couple of things of note happened here. First, the music that plays in the Safari Zone is "A Pokemon is Evolving" song, and it's super stressful listening to that for an extended time. Second, I accidentally caught a Doduo because I hit A too fast. Oops. I caught it. I caught the Doduo. I didn't mean to. I meant to run. Great. I've got Doduo. That's alright, we'll use them as our fast travel, because honestly none of the Pokemon who can learn Fly in this generation I would count as a magical girl, so we'll just add an accessory to my outfit to represent that. Third, I, on purpose, caught a Nidorina who I named Nina. Being the only canonical female-gendered Pokemon of the generation, I think the Nidoqueen line absolutely counts as magical girls. And fourth, I found the missing teeth and the hidden machine for Surf all on my first try, no map included. I was blown away by my luck of randomly walking forward. However, none of my Pokemon can learn Surf. But I know Nidoqueen can. Unfortunately, I had sold all of my moonstones needed to evolve Nina to make room in my pockets. Remember? Well, while we figured that out, I also traded a man's gold teeth for strength, which I taught to Beyonce. We won't be able to use it outside of battle until we beat Koga though, so I headed back to Saffron to get some levels fighting through Sabrina's gym instead. The walk there was very, very boring, so while fighting the army of trainers who refused to evolve their Pokemon, I looked up how strong Sabrina's Pokemon are, and yikes! She's even stronger than Koga. And what's worse is that despite all those trainers, my Pokemon hadn't even leveled up that much. I fought my way through the unofficial fighting gym in Saffron to train up a bit, but even after all that, my levels still weren't where they really needed to be. I got the Hitmonlee, by the way. Not a magical girl, but I like Hitmonlee. Turns out I had forgotten that Team Rocket had taken over Saffron and that I still hadn't done anything about that yet, so I couldn't challenge Sabrina even if I wanted to, but that's okay. What the residents of Saffron see as a menace to society, I see as a bunch of free EXP ready for the taking. And so, I confidently stormed into Silph Co. The army of grunts and scientists were effectively just walking EXP sacks for me. And it didn't even matter that I got kinda lost, because it just meant stumbling into more people to fight. And eventually, all that fighting paid off in a major way. Bud is evolving! Yeah, look at him! He's so big! The biggest, strongest boy. Bud had finally become the beefy tank he was always destined to be. And also, Fluffus finally learned Ember. Yay. Finally! Oh my gosh! A fire-type move. Finally, after over an hour of running around Silph Co, I found Blue. Haha, I thought you'd turn up. If I waited here, I guess Team Rocket slowed you down. Not that I care. I saw you in Saffron, so I decided to see if you got better. So you infiltrated Silph Co and didn't help them, so you could ambush me in a fight. When I would be so willing to just fight you anywhere. Blue's questionable priorities aside, fighting him really wasn't anything too noteworthy, except for his Alakazam. The broken special stat of these games, compounded with psychic types having no real weaknesses, means fighting Alakazam is a nightmare every time in Red version. But I still managed to beat it, and his Charizard, which basically just used Rage for the whole battle, which was all exciting. But not as exciting as this other fella in the room who gifted me our next magical kid, Lapras. I think Lapras totally counts to this challenge, and maybe it's just because of the holiday special where Lapras had telepathy that's doing that for me. But I'm still the one in charge, so Lapras stays. It's a pretty magical boy-heavy team as Selkie joins the crew and Nina gets sent to the box. Level 15, are you? Oh. Selkie may be quite a bit behind the others in terms of levels, but with the Surf HM, he's going to swiftly become one of the strongest members of the team. And so, we headed back into Silph to slap Giovanni on the wrist again. This is also when I learned that level doesn't really matter nearly as much as type advantages in this game. Don't kill him. Okay. That's bananas. It's bananas that a level 37 Pokemon can't one-shot a level 17 Pokemon. But the level 17 Pokemon one-shot a level 37 Pokemon. Like, this game makes no sense. Truly a flawless masterpiece. After we finished pushing Giovanni around and taking his lunch money, Silph Co's president rewarded us with a Master Ball I'm not going to use, so it'll just add to the clutter in my backpack. With our levels up quite a bit higher and my newfound confidence in the fact that they don't mean anything in the long run, we headed back to Fuchsia to finally fight off Koga, who, despite being a poison-type gym, all the trainers in here are jugglers who use psychic-type Pokemon. Which is weird, because there's plenty of poison-type Pokemon to use in this generation, but whatever, I guess. Time to fight the Poisonous Ninja Master. And, I may have been a little over-prepared. The real highlight was Koga's Giga Brain move with his final Pokemon, Wheezing, which was 2 X attacks, and then self-destruct. Psychic, let's go. Oh. Okay, you know, that's fine. I win. Okay, Koga. Yay, Selkie leveled up. Cool. Cool move, Koga. Humph. You have proven your worth. Here, take the soul badge. Thank you, Koga. The taste of victory was sweet, so let's keep that rolling by immediately heading back to Saffron to challenge Sabrina. Surely this will be just as easy, right? Well, first I had to go through her gym, which was a collection of teleportation tiles, and I did not have the patience to deal with that after taking so long in Silph Co, so I just avoided all the trainers and somehow that got me to Sabrina. By the way, she has the most trainers in her gym by far, with 7 of them hanging around. I looked it up later, and a good number of them are channelers with ghost-type Pokemon. Why? These aren't psychic-type Pokemon, dude! Why have so many trainers when you clearly don't have enough different Pokemon for them? Well, whatever. Due to my impatience, I knew I was missing out on a bunch of EXP, but I decided that didn't matter, since I knew that typing clearly was the more important thing for this game. Which is stupid, because I also knew that psychic types, and Alakazam specifically, were a real problem for me to fight, so let's see how my overconfidence played out. The fight opened with her one-shotting Selkie. Uh-oh. I decided to prioritize speed and so opted to use Star, and while Kadabra's Recover was a pain, she handled it and the Mr. Mime quite well. Beyonce struggled quite a bit with the Venomoth, but she managed to pull through too. Time for Alakazam. Being part poison, I knew Bud was weak to Psychic, but I wanted to start with him so he could act as a shield for a turn, so I could heal other members of the team. That worked out real well, as Sabrina started spamming Reflect, allowing me time to heal multiple other Pokemon, and Bud damn near took her out by himself like this before she finally stopped using Reflect. I was oozing overconfidence at this point. I figured this was in the bag, and it would have been if I'd used Fluffus's Quick Attack. Instead, Sprite's Psybeam did basically no damage, and then Sabrina used a Hyper Potion. All that good work Bud had done was gone. I was very upset. Sprite poisoned Alakazam and started whittling away at its HP again, helped by a bout of confusion too. After Sprite fell, Star was back in, but even she couldn't outspeed this bitch. Only 2 of my Pokemon remained now, and I decided to save my 1 revive for the inevitable rematch I'd have to do with Sabrina. Alakazam decimated Beyonce with its 3rd crit in this fight, absolutely ludicrous how crits worked back in these games. All that remained was Fluffus, a Pokemon who I knew was generally on the weaker side of things when it came to stats. His HP isn't great, his defense isn't great, his speed isn't even all that great, but technically he wasn't fighting alone, since Sprite's poison was still in effect. As Alakazam's Psybeam got its 4th crit, I did what I should have done much earlier in the fight, and had Fluffus use Quick Attack. And it worked! I win. It was perhaps the most stressful fight of the adventure so far, but I couldn't rest too easy since I knew there were 2 more important fights with Alakazam looming on the horizon. For now, though, it was time to make my way down to the island of Cinnabar, which was just a short surf south of Pallet. Oh, I also swung by the lady who gives out fly to people, finally. Cinnabar is nice, because the lab that reanimates fossils is here, and I'm not gonna use the ammonite I collected a million years ago in Mount Moon, but it means that it finally isn't clogging up my pack anymore. The other exciting thing is that Blaine's a little freak weirdo who locked himself in his gym, and I need that badge, so I gotta go through the decrepit Pokemon Mansion to get the key. The place is crawling with a bunch of fire and poison type Pokemon, and also funny little burglars too. I can't get out. This old place is one big puzzle. You're right next to the stairs, my guy. Why are you like a chibi? Honestly, the whole place is just a perfect playground for Selkie to level grind. He swiftly jumped up to the point he matched the rest of the team with the plethora of Ponytas to drown. We eventually fumbled our way down to the basement, where I grabbed the TM for Solar Beam, which I opted to give to Sprite, and Blizzard, which went to Selkie. We grabbed the key and headed back to face the gym. Above all else, I gotta mention how Blaine's gym trainers are by far the funniest ones in the game. Do you know how hot Pokemon Fire Breath can get? Yeah, hot, hot, hot. Of course the super nerd would have all the hot Pokemon.
Do you know how hot Fire-type Pokemon Breath can get? I only have Vulpix and Ninetales, 'cause they're pretty.
Cool. I just like using fire Pokemon. You know what? That's fair, man. I'm not gonna try to pull your leg on this one. Basically, since Second 1, Selkie's Surf has been unstoppable. Fighting Blaine was a cakewalk. Maybe this is why he keeps his gym locked up.
Rain on me.
I then used Fly for the first time this game to scuttle back to Viridian in the final gym challenge. This is the ground-type gym, which is funny because most of the trainers here use normal and fighting types. Again, plenty of ground types they could have used, but whatever, I guess. Giovanni's stupid sliding puzzles are much easier to handle when the floor isn't tiled, and we quickly made our way to the final fight with him. Sure is kinda weird how quickly you smashed through the last 4 gyms, huh? Fwahaha, this is my hideout. I planned to resurrect Team Rocket here. But you've caught me again, so be it. This time, I'm not holding back. Once more you shall face Giovanni, the greatest trainer. I mean, you're not even champion, my guy. And so we faced the self-proclaimed greatest trainer, and it was really easy. Both Bud and Selkie are super effective against ground types. The fight was over before I knew it. After how much trouble Sabrina had given me, it's pretty weird that the final 2 gyms use Pokemon with such clear weaknesses. Easy peasy, Giovanni. Man, dude, Brock gave me more trouble than this. Giovanni gave me lots of compliments and a TM for Fissure, and that was it. There isn't really a conclusion to Giovanni and Team Rocket. I know that they break up after this until Gold and Silver, where the admins try to get the team back together, but there is no real resolution for the ongoing plot with Team Rocket in this game. Quite frankly, at the end of it all, Giovanni just assumes the role of leader, complete with praising me and wishing my Pokemon luck with the Elite Four. Just feels weird that the main conflict ends like this, but we can at least supplement it by upgrading to our final Magical Girl outfit. With all 8 badges, we started to make our way to the Indigo League, but first, I knew that another fight with Blue was about to happen, so I got ready and headed up to greet him. How'd you get your Pokemon level 47? You must be grinding so much, that's so fucking boring. I may have been distracted by wondering how much grinding he must have done to get his team to level 47, but as usual the only real challenge was his Alakazam. Blue stuck with practically the same team all game, making it easy to know what he has and how to counter him. So, as usual, we pushed our way through his Alakazam with some perseverance, and then he just spammed the shitty attack Rage with Charizard. Victory was ours. After healing up, we headed back to the route where I rounded the corner expecting a bunch of grass and such to get through to make it to the league. Oh. Cool, even here at the end of the game, they don't really want to give you grass to catch Pokemon in. That's fine though, I'm not really looking to alter my team anymore anyway, so we moved onward until we hit the thing I was looking forward to the least. Victory Road. Another heinously colored cave full of block puzzles and an onslaught of low-level Machops and Geodudes mixed in with the other wild encounters that you can't avoid. Are you ready for some thrilling gameplay? Victory Road was, in all honesty, not that bad, or even all that noteworthy either. It's slow going, but the random encounters aren't as harrowing as they'd felt back in something like Mount Moon or Rock Tunnel, since by this point my magical kids had the HP and defense to handle multiple fights in a row. And I had plenty of money to buy potions now too. The only real highlight of Victory Road was that I got to see Tentacruel for the first time. Look at how fucking cool Tentacruel looks, with its arms crossed. But after an hour or so, I made it out of Victory Road. I made my way past the confusing statue maze thing, and finally was face to face to the doors of the Pokemon League. However, I looked up the levels of the Elite Four and Champion. I thought Blue's strongest Pokemon was going to be at level 75, and it's not. I just read the number wrong, somehow. However, his team is at level 65, and regardless of that, my Pokemon were only at level 39 to 40, and while I now knew that levels didn't matter too much here in the late game, I also still knew that there was some real tough battles ahead, and leveling up definitely couldn't hurt. So goody! I get to do more grinding! Originally, I planned on getting my team to level 60, but swiftly I instead changed the plan to just grinding for an hour and seeing if that was good enough. After 1 hour, I had everything to level 41. Well, let's do our best. I loaded up on potions, full restores, and revives, and headed in to challenge the Elite Four. First up was the Ice-type user, Lorelei, and by Ice-type, that really means also basically water, so while I started with Fluffus, since I knew her Dugong didn't know any water-type moves, I quickly shifted to Star and Bud, who handled most of her team with ease. Her Lapras, though, was tough, a veritable tank of a Pokemon. It took out my kids one after one, forcing me to use up some of my few revives just to see my kids faint again. Eventually, it was just Fluffus and Selkie left. Lapras was deep in the red though, and having learned my lesson from Sabrina, I sent out Fluffus with 5 HP in hopes Quick Attack would finish the job. Oh! Oh! Oh shit! Wow. Oh my gosh. With a magically avoided Hydro Pump, Lorelei was defeated. 3 members remained. I healed up my team, slightly concerned with how many of my resources I needed to use to do that, and headed to the next room where Bruno awaited us, who honestly wasn't nearly as much of a challenge, partially because my team is just very good against the fighting and rock-type Pokemon he uses, and partially because Bruno kept wasting his turn pumping X-Defense into his Pokemon without ever actually having them hit me. 2 members remained. I was grateful for the easier time Bruno offered though, since I knew the next one was going to be a bit of a doozy. Agatha, with her ghosts, who I knew would be trouble for us. Agatha starts off the battle with some flaming hot tea.
I am Agatha of the Elite Four. Oak's taken a lot of interest in you, child. That old Duff was once tough and handsome. That was decades ago. Now he just wants to fiddle with his Pokedex. He's wrong. Pokemon are for fighting. Twins. I'll show you how a real trainer fights. Okay. Okay, Agatha.
And then we begin. And honestly, the biggest thing that made this a challenge is the loosey-goosey rules of Gen 1. Why can Nightshade hurt me? Or am I not immune to Ghost-type Pokemon? I felt like none of the usual rules applied. Ghost and Psychic types feel like an anomaly, and so made it hard to plan what exactly would be the best course of action to fight them. While Agatha's other Pokemon were also tough, the Gengars and Haunter were clearly the things I was struggling with the most, not helped by how confusing this generation's mechanics are. Oh? Oh, that worked? Oh, it was really good? What? What just happened? Why did counter work on Haunter? Nothing hit me! I don't understand! Her second level 60 Gengar was definitely the bigger problem. As the KOs kept coming, I threw everything I had at Gengar, hoping that eventually we could tough it out with our revives and some luck. And finally, Star helped pull that off. I don't think Swift would work. Survive. Just survive. One Nightshade. Agatha can lick my asshole. Only one member remained. However, my stock of healing items was quickly dwindling. I wouldn't be able to keep my team at full HP for much longer. We enter the prettiest colored room and face our final member, Lance. Lance the Dragon Tamer, which really means Lance the Flying Tamer. Every member of his team is weak to electric and or ice, so Selkie and Star got to help save the day again. Lance's Aerodactyl in the middle of the fight gave Bud time to play tank again as I healed up my magical mons who needed it. Dragonite's Hyper Beam did start to wreak havoc on us, but that wasn't enough to stop a blizzard though. Great, we win. Lance was significantly less stressful than Agatha. This was it. All the Elite Four members were defeated, and now only the champion remained. My Pokemon were still only in the 40s. Pretty sure they were still a lower level than Koga's Wheezing, actually. But now wasn't the time to worry. We just had to believe in ourselves. Hey! I was looking forward to seeing you, Twiins. My rival should be strong to keep me sharp. While working on the Pokedex, I looked all over for powerful Pokemon. Not only that, I assembled teams that would beat any Pokemon type. And now, I'm the Pokemon League champion. Twiins, do you know what that means? I'll tell you. I am the most powerful trainer in the world. Well, in Kanto. I think Cynthia could probably beat your ass. As always, he leads with Pidgeot, which is now faster than Star, but still no match for her Thunderbolts. Then Blue decided to bring out the big guns early with Alakazam in next. Selkie was able to get in some good damage before getting taken out, swiftly followed by Fluffus, who got one-shotted by a critical Psychic. Beyonce continued to whittle him down, before also fainting. She was on half health, but I sent in Star in hopes of outspeeding Alakazam to take out the small amount of HP it had left. That didn't work. Don't use Recover. Oh, your fucking Alakazam knows Recover. God, you suck. This is the worst Pokemon in the entire fucking game. I knew I needed to save some Thunderbolts for Gyarados, so opted to paralyze Alakazam with Thunder Wave and follow up with Thundershock. That might be the first time I've ever actually used Thunder Wave, I'm gonna be honest. With a paralysis, Star now outsped Alakazam, but unfortunately that didn't help her survive against Psybeam. Only 2 Pokemon were left, and one of them Alakazam was super effective against. Sprite was up next to bat, where I took a turn to use my 1 max revive on Selkie. Luckily, the paralysis kept Alakazam from attacking. Knowing that Sprite's Psychic-type moves wouldn't be all that useful, I desperately decided to use Solar Beam. I don't know, just do Solar Beam. Maybe it'll work. It did, oh my gosh. The Alakazam was down. Now was the time to regroup. Rhydon was out, and with Bud playing defense, I healed up some of the team before having Bud take it out in 1 turn. Exeggutor was another beefy member of the team to deal with. Beyonce and Fluffus did their best, but they couldn't quite handle Exeggutor's stocky defense. Deciding to fight fire with fire, I sent out Bud to use Poison Powder. If this thing was too sturdy to get any decent damage done, it might as well have its HP depleted over time. As Exeggutor slowly withered, I focused on healing my kids again. I had 7 revives left, but only 1 max potion. My item stock wasn't going to be able to save me anymore. Bud fell again, and Star came in to quickly clean up the rest of its HP. Gyarados was next, which Star absolutely bodied. You know, I always thought Raichu was cute, but after this playthrough, it's really rocketed up in my favorites list. Only 1 Pokemon remained. Charizard. We tried to get off a Thunderbolt, but Fire Spin is just as asinine as Erika's rap tactics. Luckily, Selkie could handle the heat a bit better, and was able to start landing some Surfs. We kept tanking Fire Spins, hoping to find an opening before Selkie lost too much HP. And you know, I don't think I ever actually have beaten Red or Blue version before. I've definitely played them, and I've watched tons of people beat them online, but I didn't have these specific games growing up. And maybe that's why it's so easy for me to acknowledge the flaws that others don't due to rose-tinted glasses. The weird reluctance to give players wild Pokemon to fight, the boring level design of a world full of cluttered hallways, even the fact that there's no way to know what a move actually does half the time. I see people often complain that they miss when the games were hard, like here in Red version, and I concede, it is a lot harder than the newer games. But it's hard in a way that feels cheap. In a way that expects you to spend some 20-odd hours simply level grinding against the slew of comparatively weak wild encounters, though it was still hard. But it was also fun. What a surprise. Despite all its flaws, the game that started my favorite franchise is still fun to play. But I will say that I definitely wouldn't have been having as much fun if it weren't for this challenge. Personifying my Pokemon into the magical kids of my team gave all the struggles an extra layer of character and story. We were making our own adventure, despite the game's limitations when it came to writing. And I'm happy that all my magical kids really felt integral to getting this far. Each one played a major role in helping us get here, and so, as Blue finally broke his chain of fire spins, we all braced for impact. And... Fire Blast? That's different at least? Okay. Stop. Stop. Okay, a burn, but that's okay. Yeah! Twiins defeated Blue! I did it! I did it! We did it! We defeated Blue! Becoming not only a magical girl, but also champion alongside all my magical mons. All that hard work, all that grinding, it paid off! And now, with all of that, we can enter the Hall of Fame, and our story comes to a close. Oh my gosh, I'm finally done. Fun fact, I started working on this video in November of last year. And it wasn't a constant that I was working on it, like, it's not like I was working on this for however many months it's been, 5 or so, straight, but I have been regularly working on it since then, and it's because I didn't want to cut any corners. I wanted to make sure everything was done right. My plan was not for this to actually be a Magical Girl May video. I was gonna have this done in December and then do another one for Magical Girl May, and that didn't happen because I was so busy. And I'm so tired. But I'm so happy because it's done, and because this has been looming over me, and I am really proud of the work I did here. Like, it took forever, and I'm really tired, but I think the end result is really, something special, you know? So, I'd really appreciate it if you did give the video a thumbs up, and sent it to a friend who might like it. I'm not great at asking for, you know, that kind of stuff, but I think I deserved it this time. And thank you for watching. I hope you had fun. Thank you to my patrons for being so patient with me. I know I haven't posted a whole lot because as May approached, I was like, I need to just start focusing on this. I need to get this done, at least for Magical Girl May. So everything else has kind of slowed down an awful lot. So I appreciate my patrons for tolerating me, and I appreciate my sprinkles over on Twitch who have supported me over there as well, not just monetarily, even just moral support is excellent. The kind words matter a lot. So yeah, that's it finally. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed, and I finally get to sleep.